And welcome to the weekly poll, X-Men Apocalypse spoiler cast. Since this is technically just keep going on the Twitch channel, I'm going to go ahead and just go. I'm Benny the Comic Story, and that is Sal from ComicPOP. That is, I got them all mixed up, but that is Rob from Comics Explained. That is Sal from ComicPOP, and that is Joel from Caped Joel. And today we're going to be talking about X-Men Apocalypse in its full. Every problem we had with it, every issue we had with it, all the stuff we loved, we hated, all that kinds of lovely jazz. And if you don't want to have it spoiled for you, you've literally got, I'm going to go 2 minutes. 2 minutes. That is your exit time to say goodbye, and we'll say goodbye to you.
Favorite it and watch it later.
Yeah, favorite. Yeah. Come back. You can watch this video on demand. You can watch it on iTunes afterwards. You can watch it on ComicPOP or Comic TV. We do make sure that this podcast is available to you. Trust me.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, what do you guys? Let's just talk for 2 minutes. What do you guys?
Who wants to start? I guess.
Oh man, dude, I need to do a video about Preacher.
All right.
And Rob says it's better
People
than
have been
I ever
asking.
could.
People have been asking me about that. Like, are you going to do something on Preacher? And I need to. I've been waiting. Like, I haven't even watched the series yet. I know it's out, but I haven't even watched the
First
series
episode.
I'm actually not going to watch the series. I have read the comic. I enjoyed. I did the origin. Actually, the origin.
Oh, the comic's good.
Yeah, comic's good.
Comic's great.
Garth Ennis, man, when he was young and hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Comic was great.
And Steve Dillon, who are both actually producers on the Preacher show, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, which Benny, you'll find this interesting. There apparently is an origin story somewhere for that's not part of Watchmen. I don't think it's in Before Watchmen either. But there is a definitive origin for Dr. Manhattan outside of the main Watchmen graphic novel. As far as
Is it off of that Before Watchmen thing?
No, it's not. It's not Before Watchmen. I mean, I'm going to do a video on Dr. Manhattan, but if I find the origin, if I find where it's located, I'll send it to you.
It's just a
real quick, I wanted to comment on. I just want you guys to know I've now dubbed us with a subtitle to our podcast. We're the weekly poll, the best damn pop culture podcast on the interwebs.
Hashtag. Well, you know, we're not going to.
You know, it's funny. We were actually this close to being in the podcast awards this year. When that's a thing they do every year. I've been part of things that.
But we have to put ourselves in, and then
we have to actually enroll in it.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like I put us in once, then you guys went away to WonderCon, and we forgot to like media blast that out there. So I'm like,
the way the podcast awards work is you put yourself in, and then you get your fans to vote you. That's how that works.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
I think we got a chance, everybody, to take it.
As long as we beat Comic Book Cast, I'll be happy.
Let's go.
Thank you, Wretched. Okay, that's not, this makes more sense than what I was trying to say. Wretched Egg 34.
Wretched Dag.
I was like Wretched Dag.
What's that about the Reichstag?
And for the record, guys, for those guys who are wondering, I do want to let you guys know before we talk about the stuff. Subscribers get access to the emoticons. Faust was removed from the emoticon because we're going to divide it half podcast, half gaming. But when we hit 100 subscribers, which is the subscribers to this channel, not any other channel, 100 subscribers here, we'll get access to more emoticons, and Joel and Faust will have their faces put back there.
Oh,
Joel will finally be an emoticon on the weekly poll.
I will live my dream of being an emoticon. It's the happiest day of my life.
On YouTube, guys, we're gonna give emoticons to everybody. So Benny's at like 96 subs on YouTube. Let's get him to 100. And then let's see if we can get him beyond that.
It's our gift to the
96 subs. I think you have you checked my subs in the last 2 years? I'm just.
Oh, really? 96 subs. I broke 96 subs in a day. More than that.
I'm at what am I at? I don't even know.
You broke 96
I
subs.
stopped watching it. Like
I
hate the fact that I've gotten to this point because when I started YouTube, like getting 100 subs in a day was like, oh my god.
Oh, God. Yeah, I remember those days, man. It was like, my God, Benny, we got 5,000 viewers. We're blowing up.
I know, we're blowing up, man. That video got 5,000.
Back in the good old days, in the long ago.
I love Sal's humble, like, go fuck yourself.
Yep.
But I'm just
God,
saying,
Sal,
I just got
remember what it was
300
like when you only
subs in
got
the last
5,000
hour.
views?
Yeah, I remember when those were good numbers.
I got 300 subs in the last hour. I'm at 824,241. I stopped. For those of you guys who've been following the channel since the beginning, I stopped making my video every 100K because the running gag was that 500,000 were going to shut down.
Yeah.
So I kept doing that,
really?
and then 500,000, I did the end of Comic Story video, and I said, "Oh, we can't keep doing it. We have all these other books to do still." And then I made the joke of, if we ever cross 1 million, that's going to be the end of it. Well, I just stopped making that joke.
Just shut it all down, man.
Scorched earth.
Man. Scorched earth politics.
Okay, I think it's safe to go ahead and move forward now. If they're still here, they want to see it. I like how we lost 100 viewers though.
I was going to say, we're waiting. I just assumed we were BSing because there's not much to say about X-Men Apocalypse.
What do you mean? X-Men Apocalypse? Okay, I'm going to go and say it. I liked it. I
know
enjoyed
you
that
did.
movie.
Yeah,
I actually
fine.
liked it more than Batman v Superman.
Oh well, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I liked it.
I'm with you on that one. That being said, I did not feel strongly one way or another about it. This is probably the most like autopilot comic book superhero movie I've seen in a bit.
Yep. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think
it's
Brian
definitely
said
a movie
it's
that
kind
I
of fun.
enjoyed, but it's not a movie that I think anyone's going to talk about in the next 2 months.
It's
No way.
definitely in the realm of X-Men movies, it's definitely head and shoulders above stuff like, X-Men Origins and X3. But I honestly don't think it could hold a candle to a lot of the other stuff in the series, especially not after something like Deadpool, where, man, did Deadpool have this movie's number before it even came out. Confusing timelines. You blew up the mansion again.
Yeah, they blew up the man.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, this was fine.
It was.
Like, it was the most thorough. Like, out of all the X-Men movies, this was the one that came out this year.
It
Yeah,
sure
that's what I told people. People were like, "What did you think?" I was like, "It's a movie with the X-Men."
Yeah.
Sure
Like,
And you know what?
It's
Like, some of the
fine.
costumes were pretty cool, and Quicksilver had a cool scene, but I feel like I already said
costumes
all
were
that
cool.
already.
The costumes were
feel like
cool
I
for
said
the
that
5
already.
seconds we got to see them at the movies, and I love people shouting me down when I complained about the black armor. They're like, no, Joel, here's a picture from Empire. Look, they look the way they're supposed to. They do for the last 5 seconds of the movie.
They won't look like that in the next one.
No, they won't, because we'll jump another decade again for some reason.
Yeah, for the record, first off, and this is what I said in my little spoiler-free review. When it comes to that whole thing, the whole X-Men thing, it's not X-Men. It's not at all. It's the Singerverse. And I feel like every movie we go to, we get farther and farther away from the source material, and we get closer to what Singer think is cool.
Yes.
The biggest example is that is his practically hard-on for the Phoenix Force.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
It's the
But for
MacGuffin
not
for everything.
Dude,
They're not
when they
even
had
done
that,
with Apocalypse, and they're already setting up Phoenix Force. I'm like, no, too early.
They had that
Yeah.
scene with Jean Grey, and it's like, I felt the end of the world, and I was like, okay, that makes sense. Like, Apocalypse is probably
Apocalypse
gonna
would end the world.
Yeah, that's what I thought
It's like,
too.
no, that's a preview for when she becomes a Dark Phoenix, and it almost ends the world. And I was like, really? Is that what we're doing right now?
You know,
let's
all
focus
right.
on
Another
Apocalypse.
thing, and this is a big thing too, and I got a few people arguing about it, but I feel like every movie underpowers its supervillain. I don't
God.
understand why.
Yep.
And I think this is the biggest offender to that, because we saw Apocalypse with literally the ability to point at you and just gone.
Make you just.
Yep.
And then towards the end, he couldn't do that.
Yeah.
What
he
an
was depowered mid-movie.
what an uncreative end for this villain too. It's like everybody just hit him at once with everything.
Yeah.
Well, okay, but that part I understood. That part I grasped. Because here's the problem. With comic book movies come a state of suspended disbelief, or suspended
Yes.
belief. Like
Yes.
we suspend the fact that
When they do
it's
their job
impractical.
right.
When they do their job right. Like we sit around and we say, okay, there's a man who's just your average looking guy that turns into like a 10-foot tall green dude with unlimited strength that smashes stuff. Like we
Right.
suspend our disbelief on that. All right, we look at X-Men Apocalypse and we're like, there's a guy that shoots lasers out of his eyes because that energy comes from another dimension.
Which
We
I'm glad you
suspend-
mentioned lasers, Rob, because it is lasers again, not concussive blast. They had a chance to do it right this
Yeah.
time, and they ended up not doing it right again.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, like we say, okay,
I
fine.
did like the
It's
effects for his laser beams, though.
they were. I mean, I
they're
thought
pretty.
Yeah, they were
Cut
pretty.
a
But
tree! I
it's
love
like-
his little speech. That was my favorite tree.
That was my favorite tree. My grandfather planted it.
you look at Cyclops and you say, okay, fine, optic beam, eyes are portals, optic beams, whatever. What would have happened if in that final fight, Apocalypse had been like, you know what, I'm just going to grow to like 2,000 feet tall.
Would have been awesome.
To be a Power
would
Rangers
have been
monster, I would
awesome.
have liked it.
It would have been awesome, but even that would have stretched credulity for an X-Men movie.
Yes.
Because for like a comic book movie, because it's like, how are they going to defeat a guy that's 2,000 feet tall? And when I sat down and thought about that, I was like, that's the point. They never defeat that guy. They never
do.
He always, like, Apocalypse always comes back. He's like, okay, fine, I'll just go sleep in my chamber for however many years, come back, and we'll
Yeah.
do this again. And it's like this unwritten agreement between the X-Men, like, hey, we'll fight for a while. You go to sleep,
Go
come
away.
back, we'll do it again. Whatever. That's just how we do our thing.
They normally
And then-
rewrite time to get rid of him.
Eh.
They,
yeah,
make it so
or-
they basically
Here's
make it so that he won't awaken, and then he does later.
yeah.
Now, Rob, if they couldn't beat Apocalypse, right, and he's like, I'm winning, and then you hear this amazing guitar lick, and then Bishop shows up and says, "I'm from the future," and then shoots him with a
I would-
plasma bolt.
That would have been nice. That would have been nice.
Oh, if
I
Bishop
would have
showed
forgiven
up.
all my issues. That would have been amazing.
Or
that
if
happened.
Cable showed up and they establish who Cable's going to be in the next Deadpool movie by being like,
See, that right.
Ron Perlman shows up, he's like, Apocalypse, no!
They do that, and then I'm like, this was all worth it.
That's the kind of thing that needs to happen. See, that's why I'll always say Marvel is like light years ahead of everybody else. Because if I were Bryan Singer, I would have done that, and that just tells you there's no communication going on between the people who are making movies or anything. But if there were, Bryan Singer would have just been like, or even after the fight's over, like let's say Apocalypse retreats or something like that, or let's say like at the end of the movie, Cable just jumps back and it's like 5,000 years ago, and like Cable's there, like, and then cuts to black. That could have been your post-credit scene.
There are several chances this movie had to be awesome, and it refuses those chances every time. Another case in point: the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Apocalypse, like, I will gather the strongest mutants, by which I mean Storm, Magneto, and 2 losers I come across throughout the course of it, and you will be my
2
horsemen.
losers that I come across.
I'm not going to tell you who's war, famine, death, or pestilence. You're all just going to be my horsemen, and you're not really going to get new redesigns, and you're not even going to get any new powers. I'm just going to turn you up.
Basically gave them costumes.
And he took like 20 minutes per character to give them their costumes. Like, okay, stand here for a minute while I create your costume.
But for the record, the Horseman was really weak. But I do want to state, I got a lot of people discussing, like, oh, I wanted more Nightcrawler, I wanted more Psylocke, The fact is, these movies, they're about Professor Xavier, Magneto, and Mystique.
They're about whoever
Everyone
is the
else is a
hottest
cameo.
actor at the time. That's why the
about-
first 3 are all about Wolverine, and that's why these ones are all about Jennifer Lawrence, because she's the biggest, most in-demand actor. Even though Jennifer Lawrence was sleepwalking through this one. She was arguably sleepwalking halfway through Days of Future Past. This one, she doesn't even bother getting blue half the time.
Yeah, like, why did she even insist on being, like, why did she want to, like, if she's unhappy with being in this movie, make her not an important character and let her satisfy the fucking contract.
Well, for the record, I feel like that was more of a budget issue of not making her blue, because they kept Beast de-blued most of the movie too.
Yep.
I think that was just her bitching about it. I think she was just like, I don't want to be in a makeup chair for 6 hours.
Well,
Yeah, but I'm saying, I mean, it's probably easier for both of them. Like, hey, everyone who has I'll say that's one thing I didn't like about the movie. Everyone who has a mutation that makes them stand out, other than Nightcrawler, had like, I have a serum. I'm normal again.
Dumb.
Yeah.
Speaking of Nightcrawler, we had another chance to fix an issue from before by actually having Nightcrawler be Mystique's son, and again, we don't go there.
Yep.
Well, no, it's not that they didn't go there. They didn't really expand on it because, one, they didn't give us Nightcrawler's age, but he looked really young.
Yeah.
And 2, there's a little bit of teasing here and there, even if it's only by circumstance, that like Mystique has something to do with
There was more
Now,
teasing in X2 than there was in this.
There was, but it was like if
but in
I picked up
X2,
scenes between
the
them.
actress for Mystique looked like an older woman because it was obviously
Another person.
Jennifer Lawrence looks like she could be Nightcrawler's sister.
Which can we talk about that too? These movies keep jumping ahead a decade because First Class was a really awesome period piece, so now everyone needs to be a period piece. Even though if you follow this logic, Magneto was like 12, 13 at the time of the Holocaust, he would be in his 50s now, but no one looks any older.
Yep.
Just like Professor X should be already long, old, and balding, but okay, I was the stupidest thing in the world. Oh, we want to make him bald, so while he was turning into Apocalypse.
I took that.
They lost his hair.
You know, it's like that's fine, and I'll take it because it's one of the few actual things of note that change for the X-Men at the end of this. For a movie that's all about destroying the world, there are shockingly few consequences for this. No one has any personal stakes.
Hair loss is your consequence?
It's the biggest.
Oh my god, this one was the worst ever. I lost my goddamn hair.
It really is the biggest consequence for everyone. I mean, like, some people move into the mansion in the end, some people move out. That's really all that changes.
Yeah.
No one has a complete arc.
Oh yeah,
which is
I love the
kind of
fact that they
amazing.
rebuilt the mansion in like a day.
Yeah.
With slave labor. That's how you do it.
Could they have killed Professor X at the end of this and had Magneto take over the X-Men?
That would have
and then
been
set up Age of Apocalypse, like teased at Age of Apocalypse?
Well, let's see. That's okay. Here's one of the issues that I have with, and maybe it's because I think we're spoiled by the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh,
Yeah, if there was no MCU, we'd be like, this is awesome! Well, they were all doing their powers!
Exactly.
They were...
If this movie came out 5 years ago, we'd be all
This
loving
one's
it. But
for you, Morph.
Gene! But, oh, by the way, somebody said that we should we should all dub an episode of X-Men the Animated Series.
God, yes,
like
we
like
should.
using words that like we would like using the things we would say.
Our
Yes.
own abridged series.
I can
our
already
own
see it right now. Rob plays Cyclops, and he instead of going like X-Men Attack or whatever, he's like, "So here's what I want to do here."
So what I want to do here, guys,
Let's
is
just
I
shoot
want
that
to
Sentinel on
attack
the way.
these 15 Sentinels head on, knowing that we're probably going to die, and then I want to leave Earth behind because that guy sucks.
Or I don't have the heart to fire him.
I'm Cave Joel, and this is Comic Snicked.
Can I pitch you an idea that like it would have cost nothing to do and it would have made the movie like probably another $50 million. When they have their scene where the Apocalypse is gathering up his Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, Horsemen,
Whatever.
and there's no Wolverine scene like there was in First Class where they go to get their mutants, right? And there's no scene where they go to get Deadpool, and Deadpool's like, "Nah, I'm not going to be in this one."
That would have been good.
No,
That would've been
but you also got to remember chronologically, Deadpool has like Wade's not Deadpool.
But that would have been even funnier because Deadpool's like, I'm not even in this time. Like I'm from
that would have been like
Lamp
what am I
Shanahan.
doing? Like I'm not even Deadpool yet. Like
Yeah.
well, that doesn't make any
Bring
sense.
the car around.
Oh my god, if they've been like, no,
Oh,
thank
man.
you, and then they leave, and he goes, "Wait a minute, is it 1983?
Yeah, like I don't become Deadpool until 2016.
That doesn't make any sense."
How did I get here? And it's like, oh, that's why
Oh.
Cable brought me here.
or a scene where they're in the mansion, right, and they're hanging out, and then Deadpool just blasts through the timeline and goes, "Guys, it's Jean. Jean's the. Am I early? Am I too early?"
Yeah.
Like just rip off the Flash scene, but make it Deadpool.
Yeah,
Would have been
that
funny.
would have been.
Like I said, several times this movie had a chance to be awesome and it chose not to do it. Can we also talk about the young X-Men, which I was all for? I'm like, good, finally, new young team X-Men. Let's follow them. They get nothing to do in this.
And they have no personality, so it works out.
I was really hungry. I had hummus.
Nice.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
That's hummus.
Apparently, from what I understand, there was about 40 minutes cut, and some of that 40 minutes involved the young X-Men at the mall actually growing as a team and getting
That was a
personality.
scene, and they just cut it for time.
That really should have stayed in the movie. What did stay in the movie, though, was a really catty joke about how the third one in every series sucked.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I was like, you're a little late.
Yeah.
You're a little late. That was X3, The Last Stand. There's been an X-Men Origins Wolverine movie. There's been a First Class movie, a Days of Future Past movie, and a Deadpool movie.
No,
Also,
no.
that
Now,
clearly
see, this
felt
is
like
Bryan
it was
Singer.
shot later and put in.
Yeah.
This is Bryan Singer. X-Men 3 doesn't exist. Remember that.
It's true.
He
there.
just made a joke about it in the movie.
Only the ones he touched were real, but also apparently not really because the Wolverine feeds into one and the other, and the Wolverine.
Oh, and the Wolverine. That's
The
fine.
Wolverine is the most confusing about the X-Men timeline because, like, you're like, okay, cool. I can accept, Origins technically takes place before everything, so we have to keep that in, even though it's horrible. But like they're like, Days of Future Past resets, gets rid of X3. Cool, I accept that. Then the Wolverine comes out, and you're like, wait, where the fuck does this play in?
That's a sequel to X3, and you're like, what? By the
Well,
way,
no,
I dug the Wolverine way
Me too.
more than X-Men
It
Origins.
is. It's basically a Seagal movie starring Wolverine, which is perfect.
Yeah.
Can I also
I
say-
this is
can't
something
remember.
that-
Did Days of Future Past or the Wolverine come out first?
Wolverine came out
Wolverine
first
came out
because it had a credit stinger at the end setting up Bolivar Trask in the next movie.
Right.
Yeah.
People forget that.
Wait,
because
it
it
had a
was-
stinger for what? What was this?
For the next
it was-
movie.
Yeah, at
It
the
was
end of the
when,
Wolverine, he's walking through an airport and he sees commercials for Bolivar Trask and the Sentinels,
Yeah,
and
and
that
then-
sets up.
Oh, so
And
the
then-
Wolverine,
and then
the
Professor
Wolverine
X and
is
Magneto
out
get
of
it.
continuity now too.
The Wolverine
No,
is out of
Wolverine's in
continuity.
continuity. No, it's in continuity.
No, it's
Wolverine?
a race now because if it came out before Days of Future Past, Days of Future Past got rid of X3 and all the follow-ups.
Yes.
It says it's a direct sequel to X3. That's gone.
Technically, the Wolverine should have been.
The chronology of the X-Men movies is you go through you start with Days of Future Past, and then you go to X-Men Origins, and then X-Men 1, X-Men 2 if we want to count it, and then Wolverine. But then Wolverine Origins, yeah, that ties into directly after Days of Future Past. That's the earliest of the X-Men movies, before Days of Future Past anyway. Because Days of Future Past goes into the past and so on and so forth. So chronologically, does that make sense?
No.
No, in fact, it makes less sense now.
No, it makes
you know
perfect
what?
sense.
I can tell you right now. You know what they're going to do to confuse everyone? The next Wolverine movie is going to tie directly into the Wolverine.
No, the next
no,
Wolverine
like-
movie is going to be freaking Old Man Logan. It's going to be in the
Yeah.
future.
Is it?
And then and it's going to
Supposedly,
be Hugh
yeah.
Jackman's last movie. But no, okay. Here's
Supposedly,
a
he
question.
said that many times before he's quitting and he comes back.
Here's something
Until
simple,
he's in Infinity War.
Ah ha ha.
God, man, like for a guy that explains comics, I guess I didn't really explain it that way.
That's why you're not explained.
Rob,
No.
comics not really explained. He just talked about it.
Not really explained. Days of Future Past is both the oldest and the earliest X-Men movies.
Right, because it takes place in the 70s, which is no, the 60s. First Class is technically earlier than Days of Future Past.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Untitled Wolverine
Technically
sequel. There it is.
But
Actually, one of our fans.
one of the questions
If you want to
people
get
ask
crazy,
me-
Days of Future Past kicks off the new post-time travel timeline that we're on.
Yeah.
We have divergent timelines you see for
Nick
this
J
series.
99 has renamed you, Rob, to Comics Explained Poorly.
I'll take it. I will take it. No, one of the questions that one of my
registering
friends
that
asked
URL
me is
right
they said watching X-Men Days of Future Past, it ended near the end with Mystique taking on the guys of
William Stryker.
And then
That
like
that
question
plays
is like,
into this one.
well, but that's the question.
it doesn't actually, that's the
drop
problem.
Wolverine off?
Yeah.
Like they don't bridge that gap. Like if she was pretending to be William Stryker and she looked at Wolverine and then she smiled, does that mean that she took Wolverine
To Alkali Lake? Why would she do that?
We'll never know because there was a decade in between movies for some reason.
That's the problem. Like people like those things don't make sense, and that's the issue when you skip a huge
It's
chunk
a
of time.
gaping plot hole, is
gaps.
what it is.
Yeah.
By the way,
it's-
hilariously enough, Singer makes references to himself
Yes, he does.
in the Wolverine scene because Wolverine makes like claw marks that you see in the X2 scenes, and he opens the door and leaves in the exact
Just
same
like-
way with the exact same positioning of his body as
Yeah.
he did in the flashbacks of X2.
So
like-
wait, so we're in a new timeline, but everything you did and touched still counts, apparently?
Yeah. So like, except he doesn't like Weapon X comes out of a box, and the scene when Wolverine escapes in X-Men 1/2 is he bursts out of a pool like an X-Men Origins Wolverine, and he leaves the door the exact same way. Like,
Can
what
we
do you
we
really
also
wanna
say
do?
how shameless this Wolverine cameo was? It is a 20-minute diversion that could easily have been cut from a movie
No, the
that's
whole movie could be
already
taken
too
out.
long.
Yeah, that whole
Can you?
segment could be-
But by the way, did you hear the alternate that apparently like that was the scene where like there was this whole draft where like Wolverine joins the X-Men and becomes like the drill sergeant and like
Oh
gets
my.
them ready to battle and then
Oh
leads
my.
them and then basically just pushes Mystique out of the way and like leads the team to fight Apocalypse.
Wow.
Why? Where
Oh,
was that version?
Yeah, I actually would not mind seeing fighting up. Like
I
I'd love
say-
to see that shit where like
Both
Wolverine
sound
just, like,
unfortunate.
pops his claws and he's just like, let's do this. I'd be like, you know what, this is really badly written and it's really terrible.
But I'm
But
in.
I really want to see this.
I
happen.
know, right? It's like it seems like every movie, it seems like every new X-Men movie they promise, this is the one where we get over Wolverine, guys. This is the one where we start talking about other mutants and telling others to, oh, but Wolverine is our safety blanket, though. We can't let him go.
I
it's
don't
not-
mind that.
Sunspot
I think
brought up a
Wolverine's
great
cool,
comment.
and I like watching him.
I like
Sunspot
some, but let him have
made
his
a
own
great
movies.
comment about him though. How about the fact that they keep Wolverine locked up next to the power source for the entire facility?
What the crap is that?
Poor planning,
Well,
General Stryker.
See, here's a funny thing. Like people were tentative about going to see X-Men Apocalypse. So, like, I'll probably go see it. I'm sure some people were like, I mean, we should go see it. Yeah, but there's some other stuff I want to do. I want to go
Yeah.
shopping or something like that.
I want to go
Cue,
shopping.
cue the TV
I got
spot,
sandwiches
and then
I
like
did.
Cyclops was like, well, we had some help. Pow! Wolverine's claws come out. Well, now I'm going to see it. I guarantee that's why I
that
got
whole 20-minute scene feels like it was put in the movie later. I'm certain those were reshoots, and they went out of their way to make sure you knew in that trailer, like you're saying, Rob, because we had to tick that Wolverine box is what we had to do.
Yeah, it didn't. But overall, to me, the biggest disappointment of the movie was the fact that Apocalypse was totally undeveloped. Apocalypse
Yep.
is such a great villain, not because they can't make good. It's difficult
like
to
it
make
was
good
Ultron
stories
again.
with a villain that you can't defeat.
Little bit.
Exactly. Like you don't know.
I would argue
what
Ultron
backstory-
had more going on with him because he had more of a personality. Apocalypse just gives speeches.
Well, the issue
Yeah,
is you
Ultron
don't
had
know
a
his
personality.
backstory aside from the fact that he's been around for a long time and he can like trick people into being his horse. It's like, okay, but why does he want to take over the world? Well, because he
Yeah.
ruled it before.
Not
and
only
he's
do we
really
not know
good.
that, we never know why his followers overthrew him in the beginning of the movie. It's like
Yeah.
everything looked to be fine under
Because he's a
Apocalypse.
dick.
Yeah, he made
Well-
he's a false god. That was the whole reason. Because he
Look,
made a
look,
great
He's
world.
a jerk.
But see,
Look,
see, that-
Apocalypse might be a dick, but the Egyptian trains always run on time.
well,
Yeah,
those
but
are-
not
those
for
are
the
things that don't make
slaves.
sense, right? If Apocalypse was a guy that could phase people into solid matter, then you would think people would be like, let's not like fuck around with this.
Exactly.
Let's-
What was the
let's
tipping
not.
point
What was what like did he do something? Did people did they witness a moment of
We
weakness?
also don't know his origin in the movie. We don't know. We don't
Yeah,
know
you
anything
don't
about him.
know his
Nope.
They
origin
cut
or
out
actually-
most-
Which, for the record, I'm not completely against because everyone's like, "Oh, what was his origin? I wish I had more origin." I'm like, and Rob can tell me if I'm wrong or not, but he never. Only recently is he really getting a backstory, isn't he?
No, he got a backstory in '96 or
Yeah,
'97.
like later they retconned
Like
one
a
in.
four-part
Like,
series.
Okay,
Yeah, four-part
exactly. I wasn't sure if the new stuff that they're doing with him now was the first time he got a backstory, or
Yeah,
if
this
that
will
existed.
probably be like a retcon, but no, his original backstory. Yeah, he's got a 4-part miniseries called like the Rise of Apocalypse. It's literally a 4-part comic.
They cut out the bandit stuff from his backstory, and that's unfortunate because that explains and informs his survival of the fittest mentality.
yeah.
Well, the other thing too is like in Marvel Comics, like 60% of like everything that happened on Earth in the Marvel universe happened because of him. Like he had a role in it in
Right.
some fashion. Like Nathaniel Essex became Sinister. Bennett became Exodus. The 4 Horsemen of Apocalypse form started sweeping across the world. The Morlocks, so many different elements of the Marvel universe occurred because of him. He fought Thor in the past.
He did.
Like-
That was a cool fight.
That was a badass fight too. Like Apocalypse was like, let's challenge your might, and Thor's like, I'm getting my ass whooped. My hammer doesn't do any good. He has to go to Odin and get a magically enchanted axe
Yep.
to kill Apocalypse.
Jabberjorn.
For
Yeah,
those,
yeah.
for the guys that are wondering, I'm not the biggest X-Men fan. Sean,
No, clearly.
you're not Sean. Rob is. Rob, you're the
I'm literally doing the story this weekend. Apocalypse versus Thor, because
That's
it's dude, it's a beastly ass story, and that was the cool thing about Apocalypse. Not the X-Men fighting him, like his involvement in everything.
Yeah.
And that's the downside here is in the movie, and I get this only 2 hours. I get this only 2.5 hours. Brian Singer can only do so much, but it's like the gist of Apocalypse in this movie is this guy was born a long time ago. He had horsemen. They tried to overthrow him. He was buried in the crisis, and now he's emerged and he wants to take over
He's
the world.
easily the
Done.
most cartoonish supervillain the X-Men movies have ever had, which is hilarious when I stop and consider, no, that's actually kind of insulting to the many great X-Men cartoons I've watched with deeper, more interesting villains than this guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how awesome that moment was, though, when Magneto made the X out of the pillars?
That was pretty cool.
I love that, and and I think everyone said this, but Quicksilver's speed scene.
Okay,
That- it's funny because my wife looked at me and she's like, "Oh, Quicksilver's obviously faster than the Flash." But technically, Flash is actually faster than Quicksilver, but the effect that they're using in this movie
They
is
try-
insane.
Oh yeah.
Is
Dude, the
obscene.
effect is
Yeah.
stupid.
He's
like
moving in an attosecond. Like he is God. Like he should not
Yeah.
Oh,
be able
yeah,
to
yeah.
do that.
When
I
they
liked-
did that, I'm wondering if they're going to keep that, like just make him faster than God.
I bet they're like, I bet the leg breaking, he's not quite as fast as he used to.
Ah,
Oh, yeah.
I could
That
see
would make
that.
sense.
you'll
Can I
never
say
quite
also-
recover.
Where they addressed the thing where they're like, if Quicksilver were on the team, he'd just solve every problem. And then they're like, so then Quicksilver shows up and just starts slapping Apocalypse around left and right.
Which what a way to emasculate your major villain to have a silver-haired punk just give him
it's-
half.
I love
the
the way he was
Gold,
doing
though,
that, too, though.
worked so
It
well.
was like
because
2 minutes.
Because
Like,
they're
2
addressing
minutes.
it, they're like, no, look, Quicksilver would completely wreck this guy if he had the powers that he seems to have when they're conveniently used.
Yeah.
And then Fox was like, no, I'm gonna figure out how fast you are and then be where you're supposed to
Because
be.
you're
Like,
fast, but you're dumb, and I'm smart.
yeah, no,
right?
dude,
It's like
I-
that's fine. But it was like it was cool that they addressed how OP Quicksilver is.
when I was watching Days of Future Past, that's the first thing I thought.
Oh
When he was moving around, and I was like,
That time in the
Christ,
bottle.
he's fast. Like,
Yeah.
he's not supposed to be that fast.
No, he's
No,
not.
Quicksilver is
Which
not that
he's,
fast.
like Barry Allen is supposed to be the fastest man alive. Like, literally, even when he raced Quicksilver, he's won.
Can turn
Yeah.
himself into energy.
And he's
Quicksilver.
supposed to be so fast that he can outrun death.
Yeah.
Quicksilver at
And he
the
has.
speeds that he was shown demolishes any other speedster.
Oh, yeah.
ever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
Well,
instantaneous.
he wasn't even,
Furthermore-
you know what it was? He wasn't even supposed to be in that movie. It was supposed to be Juggernaut.
It was,
And they were like-
supposed to be Juggernaut. They had a whole thing written around Juggernaut. That's why the time in the bottle scene is so good, because they had to get creative. They had to really think about it. And that's why, as fun as the mansion scene is, the time in a bottle scene is better, because it was a
what's the time
pure
in a bottle?
spurt of creativity, where in this one, it was just another box they had
It was
to
just
check.
a longer version of what we saw.
Exactly. Thank
It was
you.
cool to see. I liked it.
It was.
But like,
I like the choice in music, but the one from Days is better.
Oh yeah, well, but that's For me, it's because the one from Days of Future Past felt more organic.
Yes.
Like it was supposed to be in there.
You know what they
It felt
screwed up?
like, well, everybody loved the Days of Future Past scene, so let's make another one.
We got to do
let's
that.
make
We
it
got to tick
longer.
that box now. Quicksilver being fast. That has to be in the movie now.
Another thing that was cool but done better in the other movies, Magneto uses seemingly a harmless piece of material to kill people in violent ways. They do it with the locket here. It's cool, but it's no coin from First Class.
Can I say
let's
every
talk
Magneto
about-
scene was cool?
Dude, yes. Let's talk about Magneto. let's
Fassbender's
Michael
still
Fassbender, the way I'm going to say this. The way I was iffy on Assassin's Creed, but the way he played Magneto, I'm excited for Assassin's Creed.
That trailer
dude, they had the trailer for the movie. I'm so hyped.
How much Kanye are we going to see in the Spanish Inquisition? I hope it's a lot.
Yeah. Well, he was there, and he actually
It's true.
he inspired the Renaissance.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
Yeezy
Look like
right
Michael Fassbender.
now.
I'm gonna let you finish, but like the Spanish
Beyonce.
Inquisition was the greatest Inquisition of all time.
What you didn't know is that Yeezy is actually one of those like ancient Egyptian Greek god things that Assassin's Creed is all about. He was actually one of them.
Yeah, but
No,
they finally made Magneto look like not a dope. Like
Yeah.
Thank you,
his Apocalypse armor, he looked awesome.
dude.
I like the red one from the end of First Class. It's a shame
No!
not to see
Bro,
that.
he looked
That is
like
awful.
classic like God loves, man kills. I'm Magneto. I'm a dick, but I'm really powerful, so I can be. Like
Right.
that's the
I
Magneto
like it
that
because
I
it is goofy. Magneto's costume does look a little goofy.
It doesn't
which,
need
by the
to
way-
look goofy. No, at no point when I was a kid and I'm reading the X-Men comics was I like, Magneto looks like such a dope. He's so cool. No, I was like, he looks like a baller and this is awesome. And then they finally actually matched my... It's like when they remade Ocarina of Time and it's like, this game is as awesome as I remember it to be. They finally made Magneto's costume as cool as I want it to be from the comics. He actually rocks it in this one. I thought it was the rock. Like he actually... And they finally figured out how to make that helmet fit his freaking head.
Then again, I'm a weirdo too, and I really like his costume he had from like X-Men Evolution. I thought that was a good look.
I mean, that's fine. It was a cartoon. It looks fine. It's a
Cartoons
drawing.
suck.
Like,
No, I'm just kidding.
no problem with that either.
Can we finally
Guys, we've
say
been going
that-
on for too long. Rob's vaping in the middle of the
Can we-
podcast now.
Can we say that it's fine? Like, well, at least that I'm happy that Magneto's powers are finally like where they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Oh, where
Because
he's moving, he can
Where
possibly
he's
move
moving
the
the
planet.
Like I was tired of seeing like Magneto the Magician, where he's like,
Yeah.
I can move paper clips and I can move knives, and it's like I can shake the fucking earth, man. I'm Magneto. Like,
And
I'm
what I
so
find to be
glad
the
that's
funniest thing
happening.
about Apocalypse giving him that power, that's what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, this is
When Apocalypse tells Magneto that he can move the Earth, Ben gave me this look. He's like, "Are we gonna see Ultimatum?"
Ultimatum, yes.
And I'm like, "Don't worry, they're not gonna ever do Ultimatum." And he's
he's
like,
gonna rip
"Okay,
the earth
thank
in
you."
half.
Can we say too how Apocalypse's true plots that he had worked directly against one another? Where it's like, I'm going to use Magneto to kill everyone in the world, but then I'm also going to use Charles Xavier to control the minds of everyone in the world, even though I can control you when I'm right in front of you, and these two things are in conflict.
I don't really understand what his plan was.
He didn't really have one.
Like,
I
I
think
get,
that
I
they-
get his end goal was rule the world.
For me, Apocalypse's approach is like I'm supposed he's like one of those jackasses who's just like entitled. Like he's entitlement personified. He's just like, well, I was in charge of the world. They stopped me for some reason. Now I'm here
Sure.
and and I ain't in charge of shit right now, and that is an affront. Like I need to be in charge like yesterday. Can we get this ball rolling? Psylocke, can you please wear
Why did
an
he pick
outfit from the
Psylocke?
90s and not do
Oh,
much
yeah.
else?
Man,
And-
I love Olivia Munn talked up her performance as Psylocke like it was Laurence Olivier, like she was this big, huge thing. She barely.
Maybe they cut all of her scenes out. Maybe she
Yeah,
Possibly.
maybe they rogued her. I wouldn't be surprised if they did if they pulled a rogue. I know they pulled a rogue on Jubilee. Can we talk
oh,
about
yeah.
that, please?
Oh,
all
how-
the hype
how-
she
how
got,
they
and she was
screwed over
literally a background cameo.
She is a background
Such
player, even though she
bullshit.
was
They
over
kept-
all
they-
the commercials.
There was a moment where they cut her. She was about to talk, and they cut the scene.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's like,
Yep.
and then they just cut. I'm like, oh my god! They're like, it's like they're doing it on purpose. And by the way, screw people who are like making fun. Like I was on Twitter the other day, and I'm like, I go, so Jubilee, a 90s character, is first introduced in this 1983 movie, and we don't even get her in the movie, and so there's no way we'll ever get a Jubilee scene in any of these movies.
By the time we hit the 90s, she'll be too old now.
And yeah, she'll be pathetic. She'll be like a 25-year-old who's like, I got magic powers.
I got plasmoids.
Just because you call them plasmoids does not make them not fireworks. But like, the fact is, that's a waste, and people were like, "You like Jubilee?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you know what? I like the rich tapestry of the X-Men. Screw me for liking the creations of this
and also,
world I enjoy."
Screw everyone who grew up in the '90s watching the cartoon, and she was our POV character.
Yeah, despite the fact that Honest Trailer's like, "This cannot be our POV character. This sucks." And I'm like, "No, you know what? Sometimes the POV character works, and sometimes it doesn't."
It's true.
I don't want to be Jubilee, but you know,
I
like,
wanted to be
she's
Jubilee
cool
when
enough.
I was a kid. But didn't you? Rob, you want
I
to be
wanted
Jubilee?
to date Jubilee.
No, I wanted to
didn't
be
want to
Rogue,
actually
not
be
Rogue.
her.
I wanted to be Apocalypse when I was a kid.
Of course you would.
It's a lot of sense.
Dude, Apocalypse was a beast, man. Like
Explains a lot.
In X-Men the animated series.
And the animated series is probably, I think, one of the best portrayals of Apocalypse was the animated
It
series.
is.
Cartoon show, hands down.
Because they did it totally straight-faced.
They did.
it was pretty
He has
awesome.
the best lines.
He does.
I am the rock.
And then season 5, random Chinese
Clash
outsourcing.
against me.
Yeah.
Broken.
Yep.
I
Season
love-
5. We don't talk about
Mutants
season
as
5.
They are beyond you.
There's no
Okay,
season
okay.
5. The show ended at 4.
Can I just say that, like, I was hoping somewhere along the line that would be Apocalypse. Like Magneto would turn around and just be like, what are you, some kind of mutant? Or Xavier would be like you're the oldest mutant or something along those lines. Like, I am as far beyond mutants as they are beyond you. And I was just,
Like,
they're just
whereas, like, I'm
they
not a
pulled out
mutant,
his
I'm
best
God.
lines, just like the Marvel Cinematic Universe refuses to say Avengers Assemble or Hulk Smash.
What the
yeah.
crap
No,
is
no,
that?
he said Hulk Smash in the
He
Incredible.
did. He
In
did.
the Incredible Hulk movie, he says it.
Yeah, but
he
not,
does.
not ever since Marvel officially really took it over.
They officially did it. Or Tony Stark's in that movie.
It's the dangling carrot that they'll say it at some point.
Yeah, at some point along the line.
I guess they're going to wait until everyone's contracts run out, and then
Yeah.
what a waste.
So okay, so here's a question, because I've
When
heard
we get a
different
new Bruce Banner.
ideas.
I bet Spider-Man says
Yeah.
it.
I've heard different ideas from people. So obviously the post-credit scene was Nathaniel Essex,
Yes.
Mr. Sinister. Yeah. Well, no, I'm actually really hyped. Like, I really want to see Mr. Sinister. But
You really want to see Mr. Sinister?
Are you
Oh,
really?
hell
'Cause it's
yeah.
like,
Here's
wanna
here's
see-
my
yeah.
only problem with Mr. Sinister. And Rob and Sal, since you guys...
He's
and
a henchman of
even
Apocalypse,
Kojal,
is that
Since
why?
you're the big, like, comic book fan... you're the comic book fans. I don't read those. Since you're the big
For the old
X-Men
school
fans.
comic book fans.
Yeah, you read the X-Men and all that stuff. You're huge fans of the
Yeah.
X-Men. For the record, I do like them. The melodrama, I normally start skipping over once it gets bad. Anyway, how do you go from Apocalypse to Mr. Sinister?
You can't. Mr. Sinister is like a henchman of Apocalypse
Yeah.
at the time. You can't do it.
You know, for me, it should have been the 90s. They go into space and they
Yes.
find out the Phoenix Force is an alien. Like,
Yeah.
that's your movie. You do the Shi'ar. You've got, like, Fox is so dumb. Because if they're not going to give up the Fantastic Four, right? If it's all bullshit and like what they say is what we're really going to get, and they're not going to do it, then go cosmic. Send
Please.
the freaking X-Men into space and have them fight Galactus.
Have you seen all the money Guardians of the Galaxy made? You could have some of that money.
Have the X-Men go into space and deal with the Shi'ar and the Badoon and the and
Oh my God, the
Annihilus
Badoon.
and the Phoenix Force and just
freaking
actually, and the
freaking
Starjammers and
Thank you. Yeah.
and
Oh god,
Corsair.
yeah. Somebody said Asteroid M. Yeah, I'd take Asteroid M.
Asteroid M would be
Oh,
cool too.
yeah.
But like,
There's a story.
and that's like literally that those ideas are born from the 90s. It actually works in your 90s era if you're gonna keep going every 10 years. Like,
Yeah, like
do that. Go into space because like you can't get bigger than Apocalypse at this point. They've literally threatened the world like 3 times. It's time to take a break. Like,
Can we
do something bigger?
Can we say too how easy Eric got off on the whole? I basically destroyed half of the world,
God.
and we don't see any of the suffering people, how this affected the lives of normal people, and he just kind of brushed it off at the end, like, oh Charles.
We do get a line where somebody from like the State Department's like, and Eric Lenzer helped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He helped save the world too. He
So
also
I guess
killed
it's
half of
fine.
it.
Well,
I
okay.
feel like, just for the record, I feel like this spoiler cast has turned into more us mentioning something and then just talking about how we would have done it better for the last
Yeah.
hour.
Because
Well-
that's what the movie is. It's okay, but it could have been so much better.
Yeah, exactly.
It was fine. It was fine. It was
Well,
perfect.
here's
It was
what they'll probably like. They're going the direction of the Phoenix Saga, so I guarantee if Sinister's being introduced, it's being introduced to set up Cable, most likely. Like they'll have the Phoenix Saga movie. Jean Grey will die. Sinister will make Madeline Pryor. Her and Scott Summers will bang. Nathan Summers will be born. He'll go to the future and he'll
I don't
become.
think it's going to get that far.
No.
I think it will. It's
No,
Bryan
the
Singer.
problem is
Fox. I don't think
Bryan
it's
Singer's
so
taking a
well.
break. He says he
Yes,
doesn't want to do any X-Men
that
movies.
was big news. To which
taking
I
a
think
break.
Why-
we can all agree. Yes,
Why
please.
does he set up the Phoenix and then quit?
And then leave. Do the Phoenix and then leave.
Because he's done it before, and you know what? If someone else comes in like Matthew Vaughn did and does a better job, people are like, no, I want to come back now. I want to come back.
He's setting it up again, and then he's gonna leave, and it's.
How about they get Brett Ratner to come back and do it again, or maybe Zack Snyder can do an X-Men movie. Then we can have X-Men back.
Yeah, it's all it'll
like
take is
Bryan
another
Singer
Ratner.
is pretty much known for X-Men. I just looked it up to double check to see what else
Oh,
he's known
Usual
for.
Suspects, X-Men. That's
And
it.
He's got
I'm
Valkyrie
sure that-
under his belt too, but
Nobody likes Valkyrie. He also
was-
did Apt Pupil. If you want to watch that.
You know,
Well, Valkyrie wasn't
Hot
that
Vulgar
bad, but no,
dramas.
like Usual Suspects was like his big thing. Oh my God, Kevin
good.
Spacey's a bad guy the whole time. That's
Usual Suspects is his logo.
spoilers.
yeah.
Usual Suspects is literally the
You've never
logo
seen
for
The
his
Usual
production company.
Suspects?
Actually, I have not seen The Usual Suspects. Thanks.
Oh God, it's so
It's
good.
amazing.
Really?
Yeah, I really
See it.
haven't.
Well, it's
Oh,
freaking great.
great pieces of American cinema.
Yeah,
And
I
how
just
weird is
ruined it
it
for.
that as a young
Correct.
director, Bryan Singer is able to balance multiple characters, multiple personality types, and have them make sense in Usual Suspects. Then when he comes to X-Men, especially in Apocalypse, he can't do it.
Oh no, that was why we were all so excited. They were like, "We're making the guy from Usual Suspects making X-Men." I'm like, "Well, then I'm in." The dude knows
Like-
how to do an ensemble, and he did.
Characters
Well,
like
X-Men 1 was
Mystique
cool,
for that
2
whole.
was a bit
it was.
weird.
Oh,
I
yeah,
liked it.
Returns.
Future Past was Days of Future Past and First Class were good.
I
Yeah.
really like them.
I think Apocalypse is probably my least favorite out of all of the X-Men movies, out of the ones that were good.
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
So,
I was gonna say.
So
That's fair.
let's
That's
remove
fair.
Wolverine Origins and X3. We're just gonna pull them out of the equation. They didn't happen.
Oh, okay. I was like, are we
That's fair.
quantifying? Or are we just saying like out of all the X-Men movies, Apocalypse is my least favorite one? I'm like, Benny, I could think of 2 or 3 that are.
This is at least three.
How weird is it too in this movie? Quicksilver looks to be the only character who's going to have an arc by being like, I'm going to tell Eric he's my dad. Then at the end, I'm not for
That
some reason.
was.
I'm gonna
that's the
check
only
it out.
way- That's the only way you could actually have made him stop. Like
Yeah.
that was they were setting it up where it's like you're not alone, you have family,
Right.
Exactly.
and then they're like, nah, I'm gonna save it. Yeah, let's save it.
He's gonna
Did
save
anyone
it, and then
laugh?
not only that, but Magneto then, without any kind of coaxing, goes, change
Yeah.
my mind.
Yeah, you know what? Because that's
Did-
what I do in
Oh,
these movies.
I'm watching Mystique get choked. It's time for me to change my mind because.
Did anyone else
plots-
find it silly, the whole Magneto has a family in Poland thing, where it's like, this is a Wolverine plot. He's living a Wolverine side plot, right? He's even wearing a flannel shirt right now.
I think that was probably the most competently made part of the movie.
Yeah, well, that
did-
was
it
just that was a
Hired
throwback.
Magneto plot. I want to see that movie.
I think that
Oh, yeah.
flies in the
Magneto
face of
tries-
everything they've established with Magneto up until
Well, no,
this
because that's just a throwback to the classic Magneto origin where his daughter died in a fire
Yeah.
when the villagers set his house on fire. That's all that was just a throwback to that old.
That's a Magneto movie. I'd watch the hell out of that. Magneto tries to make good. He has a family. They screw him over and he murders everybody. That's a fucking movie.
Well,
his
see, okay.
daughter, Bird Girl.
See, that's the kicker. I don't know if it's
Never
the
uses his
writing.
powers, and it's a boring love story. Got it. Cool. That's a fucking
No,
movie that I won't
it's not
see.
a boring love story because it's not a boring love story because we don't see it. They're already happy and there. There's no bullshit where like they meet and they fall in love with each other and they like pledge a love. No, they're just together. End of story. They, like that's what mature people do when they make movies. Like they cut to the chase when it
Yeah.
matters. They hold on
Oh.
things that matter and they like it's not stupid. It's not a waste.
You know, I don't know.
It's
if
a
like-
waste, Sal. That guy in the other corner above
Yeah.
me.
I like Benny is so used to telling me off, his mind just auto
I know,
completes.
it auto goes to Joel.
I don't know if it's the acting of Michael Fassbender or if it's the writing, but it's like he's the most developed character.
He really makes
Out
it
of the
work.
entirety.
He really gives a shit.
Yeah, he's like I don't even go see the movies because like Wolverine, I'm like Magneto's going to be it. Like Michael Fassbender's going to be in it. I want to go see it.
Yeah.
Like he's my draw to get into the
We've
movie.
had 2 really great Magnetos, and I think that really says something to the power of the character. That you have the McKellen version and you got the Fassbender version, and they're both great.
Yeah.
I like the McKellen. I like that version of Magneto.
McKellen,
He's got
Well,
depth.
I
and
just
he's
read
kind of
looking
a-
at when I was just doing the information to see in the whole where does the Wolverine tie in.
Yeah.
The new Wolverine movie's got Patrick Stewart back.
Oh wow.
Yes. Well, and the
that makes
question is
sense.
whether he'll be alive or a
Yeah,
ghost.
flashback or whatever.
Well, that's going to be my question is if it follows Old Man Logan, like
He's gotta be
Xavier's dead. Like,
They're
they're all dead.
They're all
They all
I love the way he said that. They're all dead.
They're like they all die.
That's like
in,
the whole
in an
plot. He's
incredibly
still
awesome
dealing with
way,
it.
but they all
Oh yeah, we might even get a cool scene where all the X-Men die.
It's true. You want to up the stakes. That's how you open that movie, where he's covered in blood and they're all dead.
Oh, dude, yeah, man, that's and you
God.
just cover it over a series of flash. You do that the comic did, just cover it over a series of flashbacks.
Yep.
And by the time you get to the end, you're like, oh my god, Matt, or like Wolverine was tricked into killing,
What
you know,
did I
all of
do?
the X-Men. The question is, what's the
Spoiler
problem?
for the potential movie in 2017, Rob.
Oh my god, guys, haven't read a story that came out like 4 years ago.
Yeah,
No, or when did Old Man Logan come out?
Yeah,
about 10 years ago.
Yeah, I was
10
gonna say
years.
it's like
Did it
2006,
really?
I think.
So
Yeah.
a
I
decade.
don't remember when it came out.
Yeah.
No, I get that confused with the death of Wolverine. Never mind.
Oh,
The
yes.
Death of Wolverine was 3 years now? 4?
Yeah,
something like
it
that.
was
Yeah.
a bit ago.
I
now.
feel like at this point, that just on a side note, that Marvel's just like literally being like, "Screw you, Fox," like
Yeah,
because
he's
they've
staying
literally
dead.
brought him back and just called him Old Man Logan. Like they're just like, "We're not bringing him back until you give him to us."
Oh, dude,
Yep.
I tell people that all the time.
And
about
he'll
this,
never
but-
put the costume on again. They've made a solid point of that in the Old Man Logan
Oh,
book.
yeah, he's
They're
like,
no,
"Fine,
I
doesn't need to wear a
buried the
costume."
Wolverine.
You have a Wolverine
yeah.
already, and she's cool.
Yeah,
Like
she is.
I tell people that I'm like, they're like, so when do you think we're going to get the rights back to like the Fantastic Four and the X-Men? I was like, when the Fantastic Four come back and when the X-Men stop getting shoehorned in a corner. That's
Yeah.
like when you see Reed Richards show up
Yeah.
in the new Marvel universe, that's when you know Marvel got the rights back to the
You know this
Fantastic
shit
Four.
got real.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh man,
it's true.
but yeah, that's pretty much it.
There you go.
So I mean, sadly, we didn't do very much talking about spoiler cast overall. We all
Because there's
enjoyed
not
it.
much to talk about.
Whatever,
in
the
X-Men
movie's-
Apocalypse.
Like the movie's fine.
Yeah, the movie's
Yeah,
good. I
Apocalypse
think we all.
dies.
No, I'm
And-
just kind of running down what we said. I'm not saying we did anything wrong. I'm saying, I mean, basically, we liked the movie. Well, I think we're all going to forget about it in 2 months. No one has any direct criticism other than it's not close to the comics. So you gotta be aware it's Bryan Singerverse. It's not
Yep.
comic book.
There's no stakes, there's no character development. But if you just
Nothing
want to watch
happens.
a lot of lights and sounds in a nice air-conditioned movie theater in
Yeah,
summertime,
if you got some money
can do
to
that
blow and
too.
you want to go catch it on each popcorn and have your fun times, that's what
Yeah.
you go do there.
That's
Otherwise,
basically
I
what
would
it is,
say
yeah.
if you're strapped for cash, wait for the DVD because they might actually put that 40 minutes back in that made it all make sense.
Oh, Singer said he wasn't going to do it.
Oh, well, of course.
He's not going to pull a Batman v Superman.
He said he's not going to pull a rogue cut. He's like, we're not doing
What's a road cut?
The
Yeah,
road
they
cut
released
is
it.
that.
Days
Rogue
of
was a
Future
big
Past.
Rogue was a big character in Days of Future Past, but they cut it out entirely.
The
It was
road
like 30
cut
minutes.
put all the future stuff back into the movie, so they're not all just sitting there in the future not doing anything.
There was a huge Magneto scene that they just cut.
It's like the road cut's actually pretty. It really makes the movie more complete. Like it makes
Yeah.
it make.
And I liked it before. I went to bat for that one many a times, but yeah,
didn't
his
see
road
that.
cut's cool.
Oh, the road cuts. I mean, it's basically the exact same with the exception of like 30 minutes
Yeah.
halfway through. And then things change up. But no, like X-Men Apocalypse wasn't bad. It was Bryan Singer wrote himself into a corner. Phoenix Force kills Apocalypse. And that's it.
And you know what I feel like it is?
Like
I
lazy
feel like
writing.
he wants to do Phoenix Force and he keeps setting up for it, but he's scared he won't do it well enough, and so he just backs out before getting around to doing it.
Well, I'll tell you what. Like when okay, see here's I've noticed this to Bryan Singer. When he has good source material, he makes amazing movies. When he's left to his own devices, his movies are so. Like that's his problem. Like he did Days of Future Past was really good because the
Yeah.
source material was good. The Phoenix Saga, Dark Phoenix Saga would be equally as good if he directs it because
but he didn't
he
have
can-
like
he
an
can make
apocalypse
small-
story.
Well, he
didn't
kind of took the ideas of the Age of Apocalypse, but the problem is he didn't do all of it. He pretty much did the beginning of it, and even that's like 200 goddamn pages in a comic book.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's fucking huge. The damn thing split into like 4 200-page omnibuses.
Yeah, it's. Someone asked me, they're like, "Are you gonna do Age of Apocalypse?" I'm like, "No, it's huge."
No,
Yeah,
Things
everyone
go
asked
off.
us to do
Right,
it. And I'm like,
didn't you technically start that, and then
Yeah,
Shouldn't
I
I,
was going
technically
to.
not be talking about that?
I was going to, and then I was like, this will take a year, and so it's like,
and it got like no
No.
views, didn't it?
yeah, no, it didn't do well at all. And then like, yeah, it didn't do well at all. People
It got like
like-
horrible views, and you like paste it out. You're like, "This is gonna take a year."
So not worth it.
No. I mean, like if I dedicated it to my channel alone, I mean, well, the Age of Apocalypse was a 6-month long story. It was split into 4 parts or four different comics running every week. Was it like weekly for 6 months?
I don't know, but
So,
okay. I
it
think
was
at this
nuts.
point we can just wrap this up. Basically,
I
that
think
we
so.
can establish the comic is long. All right, guys. Well, I mean, that's it. That's pretty much it. I mean, very meh, so reactions to the movie. We did enjoy it. There's not much, honestly, and here's the reason why the spoiler cast isn't even that bad. There's really nothing to spoil.
No, because
You've seen
nothing.
everything on the
there are
page
no
of what
twists.
happens.
There's no sense of discovery going on here. They info dump you on Apocalypse in the beginning and then never. Dude, we didn't even talk about Moira McTaggart. Moira McTaggart came back and did nothing.
Yeah.
She looked sad.
Yeah, I
worried.
like. There's nothing to spoil in this movie if you
Yeah.
have seen a trailer or a movie poster.
Yeah.
That
Pretty
doesn't
much
mean the
all
movie's
of it.
bad. I'm just saying like you get what you expect.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
get what you pay for if you go to pay for
Hell,
it.
even that Wolverine cameo, like they gave in the last trailer.
You knew what was going to
Yeah.
happen.
Yep.
So, all right, guys. I think that's pretty much it. I think we're wrapping up here, though. If you're joining us for the first time or you come over to see our opinions on this, I'm Benny the Comic Historian. I dramatically recap comic books to you on YouTube. Directly above me is ComicPOP. He takes your favorite comic book stories and reads them over to noobs, and they discuss them. And the noobs are funny. Sal, not so much. But when you have them all
Aw.
together, it works.
Yeah.
Over to my left is Rob. He doesn't do dramatic readings, but he explains comic books to you in a
Rubbish.
very chill Morgan Freeman style. And over to my right is Joel. He cooks stuff.
Amongst other things.
Amongst other things, I talk about your favorite comic books and movies. I think that's pretty much it, guys. Not much else to talk about. I'm not going to play a game after this. We've gone on long enough. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I would be
Yeah.
playing a game for 30 minutes and then be like, all right, that's our usual
We've
time.
talked
I
for
gotta get
over
dinner.
2 hours, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had to record some audio, get it to my editor.
Yeah, I did
Same
too,
here.
actually, because they were doing construction outside of my house today, so I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, subscriptions directly support the podcast. It goes out to the guys who coordinate and plan everything out for us. That would be Joel, who's tired right now, and Sal, who's not tired right now. So anytime you guys subscribe, anytime you follow, you directly support that. And we do stream every Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and now Friday for the D&D podcast. Every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday is the podcast, basically, stuff we do. And we also have gaming on Monday, Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday, and around the other stuff. So
Yeah.
I need to eat. I'm running out of steam.
Same.
Thank you guys so much. We will see you next time right here on the Weekly Poll. Don't forget to join us on Thursday for The Poll.
Mm-hmm.